Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh, let's all pretend as if we're so shocked and appalled. How could it be? How could this happen? It doesn't get any more disingenuous than the disingenuous Democrats. Donald Trump's 3-scoop SCOTUS picks, once again paying freaking dividends. Saving America is probably a good way to put it. This time blocking Joe Biden's unconstitutional student loan forgiveness program. And all these dishonest Democrats are pretending as if it's a big shock, a big surprise. It's another media grift. They knew this was going to happen from the start. They never actually intended on this being a real policy. And now after the SCOTUS decision has finally been made, they're fundraising and trying to collect political points as they act outraged and pretend as if this is a big shock. Well, obviously it's no shock at all, and we have the video to prove it. We've played it before, but let's play it again. A little bit unfortunate that this Nancy Pelosi clip exists, huh? We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, the decision has been made. Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness plan has been deemed unconstitutional. It has been blocked. It will not go into effect, and I don't know why Democrats are surprised.
People think that the President of the United States, is this more on the subject than you ever want to know? Well, you'll let me know. People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
They knew it all along. They knew that Joe Biden never had the executive authority to push through this kind of legislation. And how dishonest of them it is to pretend as if they ever thought otherwise. They knew forever. They knew since the start that this was never going to work. It was never going to happen. But they dragged Democrat voters on and on and on. Joe Biden even multiple times claiming that the bill passed, when obviously it never passed through Congress, when constitutionally any debt forgiveness by law has to pass through the Senate and the House. Joe Biden's action was unconstitutional. Democrats knew it, yet they did it anyways. Why? Because the 2022 midterms were right around the corner. It's funny how things change for the Democrats once election season approaches, huh? Here's Joe Biden in 2019.
But to come along and say you're going to fund a $35, $34, $40 trillion plan in 10 years, $1.7 trillion in student debt will be forgiven for all universities. I can understand. I think we can get to the point we can have 4-year public universities covered. But why should, in fact, these people out here pay for the fact that my kids had a significant debt, but they went to Yale and they went to Penn and they went for incredibly high tuitions? Why should that be free?
Not supporting student loan forgiveness or Medicare for all, and then right as the 2022 midterms show up, they come up with this massive student loan executive order plan. Give me a frickin' break. They bought votes. That's exactly what happened. Make sure you vote Democrat, folks. $10,000 to $20,000 is on the ballot. A total scam. There was no actual policy. They simply made an online portal, go to this website, and sign up for student loan forgiveness. It was probably just a very basic database collecting people's personal information, not an actual student loan forgiveness plan. I mean, what a freaking joke. That's why you can't take these Democrats seriously. Everything they do has an ulterior motive. Everything's a freaking scam. And there's so many disingenuous takes. Here's a great one. So let me get this straight. Harry Sisson writes, Marjorie Taylor Greene and other Republicans got their PPP loans totally forgiven, but Americans with student loan are left out to dry? That's the Republicans' logic? Okay, Gen Z will respond accordingly in 2024. I love how this clown always pretends as if he speaks for the entirety of Gen Z. But making this comparison between PPP loans and student loans is completely ridiculous. PPP loans are the Paycheck Protection Program, were loans that were given to help businesses keep their workforce employed during the pandemic. In other words, you had to take your loans to keep your freaking doors open, to keep your business alive, because the government shut your business down. And there were specific criterias that would make you eligible for loan forgiveness if met. Another disingenuous Democrat talking point and argument. Student loans are personal. You take them to get an education, to then work in a field and slowly pay them off over an extended period of time. The idea that you would compare student loans to the government shutting down your business and then forcing you to take a loan to pay your employees is utterly ridiculous. It's yet again another example of just how dishonest these Democrats are when discussing these ideas. And if it's not that, it's some cringe feminist talking point, some intersectionality guilt-tripping talking point.
It's interesting to note that nearly 2/3 2/3 of the outstanding loan debt right now is held by female students or female borrowers, Melissa Murray. And this is according to the American Association of University Women. And this organization also says that when a woman graduates with a bachelor's degree, she typically owes about $2,700 more than her male counterpart. It takes 2 years longer for women to pay back loans. Oftentimes, women go into a workforce where there is a gender pay gap. Does this ruling potentially disproportionately impact women? And do you think it's a setback for gender equality?
Well, it's definitely a setback for social mobility through education. I think it's really important to understand this decision in tandem with yesterday's decision in affirmative action. Both the affirmative action programs that were dismantled yesterday and the student loan relief that would have been provided but was dismantled today were means of social mobility for those who historically have been underrepresented or formally excluded from higher education.
So now student loans are sexist and misogynist, probably part of the patriarchy's plan to oppress women. It's just so mind-bafflingly stupid. You know, Democrats want to pretend as if students, and in many cases Ivy League students, and people going to amazing schools who will end up in the top percent of American earners, Democrats are trying to pretend as if those people are marginalized and those people are the ones who need help, from blue-collar workers and small business owners, as if hardworking taxpayers should be footing the bill for their education. Here's a clip from Bill Maher's show that really put it all into perspective back in March of 2023.
And again, this is against why people sometimes, I think, question some of what you're saying. This is a survey, student loan forgiveness recipients. 73% of applicants say they are likely to spend their extra money on non-essential, including vacations, smartphone, drugs, and alcohol. They admitted that to the pollster.
Who is this pollster?
NBC News. 52% they are very likely to buy new clothing. 46% they would use the money for vacation and eat out at restaurants. This is why people have a thing about, I would never call it free money. Oh, I guess I just did.
The whole thing's a freaking racket. The whole thing's a freaking scam. From the talking points to the Democrats' strategy in implementing this policy, which was never really real to begin with. And now the outrage after the fallout. As if they're surprised and shocked, Joe Biden released a statement. It's unthinkable. The fight isn't over. I'll have more to announce when I address the nation this afternoon. What do you think Democrats are gearing up to do? They're going to do the exact same thing. I promise you, right before the next election, there's going to be some workaround that Democrats are working on. They're going to be campaigning on it to end student loans, for student loan forgiveness, to mobilize their little brainwashed Gen Z voter bloc to get them to the polls. But it's going to be once again another scam. Wake up, people. These Democrats don't care about you. It's one vote snagging scam after another. And the idea that student loan forgiveness helps you in the first place, or at least the way the Democrat plan is being presented, it's just more big government debt stacking garbage. When are people going to learn that more taxes, more government involvement, more government burdens simply makes problems worse? I mean, you're living through it right now. You're living through Bidenomics. The current economic state of the world right now is a direct result of irresponsible government expansion and spending. The government is not here to help you. The government is making you poorer and is helping create these college tuition rackets. You think college is overpriced and inaccessible now? Well, imagine how much the college racket is going to be bringing in once it's federally institutionalized. And there's no transparency when it comes to the accounting. You notice how more and more people are living paycheck to paycheck? Wages aren't keeping up with inflation. People are getting poorer and poorer. Buying a home, achieving the basic standard of living is getting more and more out of reach, in direct correlation with government becoming more and more socialist. In other words, government expansion, that can't be correlated, right? It must just be one big coincidence. The one thing you should always be most skeptical of is this concept right over here.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
There's only one person who can help you. It ain't government. It ain't anybody else. It's you. You should rely on you and simply ask one thing of the government, and that's get the hell out of my business. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know that we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.